Hello, and welcome to Direction Northeast. I'm Isaiah Acquaintance. Today we want to examine the $1 million GIVE grant given to Northeast State Community College. We'll be back to start our conversation following these messages. Northeast State received a $1 million GIVE grant by the Governor's Investment in Vocational Education. Today we have Donna Farrell and Daniel Dotson to talk about this grant. Thank you all for coming on today.
Thanks, Isaiah, for having us.
So I'd like to start with you, Donna. Tell me, what brought you to Northeast State?
So I'll be finishing my 4th year at Northeast State as a faculty member at the end of this semester. Initially, I had worked in industry for over 20 years. I won't say how much past 20 years, but I spent a lot of time in industry. I started as an adjunct faculty here and found that I really enjoyed working with students and being involved in this type of environment.
And Daniel, why did you decide to continue your education here at Northeast State?
I took 2 years of dual enrollment here at Northeast during my high school, and I really just felt comfortable here and felt excited to be here. I knew it was a good institution and there were a lot of quality people here, and so it was just a very logical step with things like Tennessee Promise and opportunities like that. It was a very good opportunity.
And Daniel, tell me a little bit about your experience in college so far.
So I started out with a degree, and I know a lot of people don't do that, but so from day one I've been in a degree program. I'm an associate of applied science with concentration in computer networking and system administration. So I haven't done a bunch of the general core classes that a bunch of people have done, but all of my classes I've highly enjoyed. You know, there's some classes that are really tough, but overall the experience has been very positive.
And Donna, tell me a little bit about your education.
So I have a computer science degree, my bachelor's degree. From there I went on to get my master's in business administration and MBA, and then my doctorate degree is in education, focusing in instructional leadership and also different types of technology.
So why did you decide to go into the computer sciences field?
Well, that's kind of a funny story, actually. My undergraduate, I had a scholarship in music, and so I went to school on a music scholarship, and after about one semester, I thought, I'm not sure that I want to, be a piano teacher or things like that. And so I went to the guidance counselor, and they said, computer science is really popular right now. It's just going to grow. Maybe you should get into that. And sure enough, at the work of that guidance counselor, I started my computer science program, and that became my career.
And can you tell me about some of the other jobs you've had involving computer sciences or IT?
Oh, absolutely. So my entire career has been in computer science. Some of the best jobs that I've had, best being what I've enjoyed, are things like working in infrastructure, creating geographic mesh networks. I've been out in Wyoming. I've worked in the pit mines out there to make mesh networks that kind of grow with the actual pit themselves so that data can be transmitted. I've worked underground doing mine tracking systems. And so I've had kind of a diverse amount of computer science. I've worked with client services. I've also worked with support services, systems administration. So over the years, I've got to do a little bit of everything. Networking being my favorite, as Daniel knows, because he's got to be in Cisco classes with me.
Now tell me, out of all those jobs you listed, what did you find most interesting?
Definitely working in the networking field and creating networks. I got to, I've told them my stories about moose in the pit mines and rattlesnakes, working with satellites and all kinds of different things. And so over the years, you get a lot of really good stories. You get a lot of good experience and background. And what I've found is for new students, I get to give them the experience that I had working in those positions.
And what is your job title here, and what all does it entail?
So here I'm an assistant professor of computer science, and I'm the department head of computer science. I teach 5 classes a semester, and then I have department head duties now along with the GIVE grant. We'll talk about that more, I'm sure, all the things that we're going to do in networking for our community and their students with that grant.
So how has your education and your past experiences helped you here at Northeast State?
I think number one is the fact that when I come in and I work with students, that I've worked in industry. I've actually had a job kind of like the ones that they want to have when they leave, and I can tell them what to expect, what, technology, what skills you have to do it. If you're going to be working on the weekends at night, do you get called in, that you can access devices remotely and still keep those bunny slippers on if you want to, if you have the, can do that. So a lot of different stories, a lot of different experience. I think that's the thing that I bring.
Now we're here today to primarily talk about the GIVE grant. Tell me, what is that and what is the initiative behind it?
So GIVE is the Governor's Investment for Vocational Education. The initiative being that our governor has recognized that we have different careers or different settings and employers in the state of Tennessee that are not capable of finding people to fill all the positions they have. So let me see if I get my acronym right. The Center for Economic Research for the state of Tennessee identified that IT as a whole does not have enough people to actually fill all the need for the state of Tennessee. So that being said, when we were looking at applying for this grant, we knew that networking was something that, especially here in East Tennessee, we do not have enough technicians, especially Cisco certified technicians. So from that, we already have an academy here teaching Cisco CCNA 1 and 2 to help get those Cisco certifications, but now we'll be incorporating Cisco 3, and now we only have the 3 because we're in a new version of Cisco for the academy. We're also going to be able, with the AAS degree, to offer a certificate in networking. And then our accelerator programs that we hope to start by the fall will let folks come in who maybe they're in industry and need a certificate, they're underemployed, they may be unemployed, or they may have something that's expiring. They can come to us to get ready for those certification tests.
Now, how exactly is Northeast State planning to use the grant money?
So we've started with a couple of things. Fortunately, the grant gives us the capabilities to hire a full-time networking instructor. We also have a full-time lab assistant to help with these labs. We're creating a networking laboratory classroom in Kingsport, at the KG, so we'll be teaching classes there. We're also going to partner with TCAT and Elizabethton, and they'll be getting a bundle or several bundles of equipment. We'll be buying all the newest Cisco equipment, which is really exciting for me. So each student will have a workstation, and at that workstation we'll have laptop, desktop, router, switch, and then we'll have wireless routers as well. So this will give our students more opportunity to learn as they would if they were working in technology or if they were working in a networking career set. Because while simulations are wonderful, we love Packet Tracer, right, Daniel?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
he's maybe not. But Packet Tracer is a simulation program we use to teach networking. But when you go to a real job, you're not going to be dragging and dropping, pretend routers. While it's a great teaching program, having those real pieces of equipment, having the hardware so that they can create networks that way is the best way to train for your job.
And how do you think this GIVE grant is going to impact Northeast State in the long run?
Well, it's a 2.5-year grant, and our goal is to make it sustainable after the grant has expired. And by being sustainable, we want to have an academy program, Cisco Academy, a networking academy program that will still have people from industry, other students, maybe people from different colleges coming, just so that they can get ready for a certification test. We want to accelerate the program into about a 12-week program. A lot of people used to call these boot camps, and in a boot camp you would be somewhere about a week and you just memorize a ton of information and you really didn't learn the skill set. So once you left, most of that information kind of just went away. Our goal is to make sure all the students who come to the accelerator program will be able to actually learn the skills and then carry that experience with them into their job, which will actually make the test easier when they sit down for the certification exam.
And how difficult do you think this course will be?
Well, they're all pretty difficult. Let's ask Daniel. Daniel, how hard are Cisco classes?
They require a lot of work, a lot of study. I know we would have about 10 chapters for each Cisco class. For the second one especially, I took notes. I have about 40 or 50 pages of notes from this last Cisco class that I actually used to refer back to studying for exams or for my certification test even. So they're pretty difficult and require a lot of just learning. Sometimes you have to do extra research to understand it if you don't think it's explained as well as you would like. But overall, like I found, it kind of made me want to go out and do more. And the way that they have it hands-on, so they have a lot of labs, packet tracer labs throughout it. That gives you a chance to, if you're not understanding a concept, you can open it up and see how it works, even if it's just a simulation. So they're pretty difficult and they require some dedication, but anyone can do them if they're willing to put in that work.
And that's the key, is putting the work in. If you're a student who thinks you're going to come to Cisco class and not really read and just kind of barely listen, you're not going to make it through. It really takes a lot of time outside of class for reading, doing activities, and preparing. So it's a very time-intensive course. And there are several of them that you can take to get you ready for different Cisco exams.
And how difficult has your part in this course been?
I not difficult so per se because I love networking. Difficult because I get a little frustrated that I don't have all the new equipment for my students to use, and we have to rely on things like packet tracer. This grant is going to be fabulous for students on campus and at KG and TCAP, primarily because we're getting brand new labs of brand new equipment. And so if you come into the lab, you're going to have all those pieces, and then we'll get to build stub networks together. Students will get to create different things to try to keep each other out of their networks, and we'll get to do a lot more hands-on work and brainstorming and troubleshooting, along with our brand new building that we're getting. And Daniel is on this team, as a matter of fact. We have a mock data center. It's actually one of the first in Tennessee that students will be actually implementing. They'll be part of the design team. They'll be part of implementing all of the equipment, the racks, the servers, the routers, the switches, the UPSs, and then they'll be maintaining all of that equipment for the computer labs that are on the second floor of that building. That alone on a resume will be tremendous for our students.
Now, we've talked a lot about this Cisco certification. Donna, could you tell me just in depth what is a Cisco certification?
Well, I won't go too much in depth, primarily because it'll take us a while, but Cisco itself has been around for a long time. Cisco is a global entity for networking and networking devices. They have academies so that students can get certified. If you get these certifications, you can travel around the world because they're a global entity, and you can kind of pick and choose the jobs you'd like to have. And when I'm saying jobs, as you get more certifications, you're looking at easy six-figure salaries. So you can travel, you can work for the Department of Defense, you can do FBI, Homeland Security, any type of banking, the banking industry. Anyone who needs a secure network, which is pretty much everybody, will be able to have more technicians through these Cisco academies. And like our GIVE grant will allow us to put more people out into the population that are Cisco certified to meet some of those requirements that they have, especially cybersecurity as well, because we have a Cisco security class and a certification.
Now, would the Cisco certifications be available without this GIVE grant?
They are, but they would be a lot more difficult and wouldn't reach as many people, primarily because for Daniel and other students that are in CCNA 2, we have some free seats in the accelerator programs. So if you went somewhere else and you wanted to do one of these type of programs, you're looking at $4,000 or $5,000, plus your travel time, taking vacation from work. For our students, they're going to have free seats because of the GIVE grant, and we're going to pay for them to take that exam. That's big because Cisco exams can often be very expensive. And let me brag on Daniel because he just passed his first Cisco certification, and he's now a CCENT, and which is passed it the first time, I might add. So I'm very proud of him, and I think it's just wonderful that we have students that are actually participating in these certifications.
What jobs are available in our area with a Cisco certification?
Jobs, there's several, so we can look at things like Cisco Network Engineer, Cisco, or not just Cisco, but network administrators. So you have to have people who can come into your company, decide the best way to set up your network. And by a network, we're talking about something that's going to let us get resources to and from. So if you're going to sit down at your computer and you're a student here at Northeast State and you need D2L, for example, there's a lot of networking background and infrastructure that has to go into place for that to happen. Most of people think about network technicians, the ones who's actually configuring and putting those pieces of equipment in place, network engineers who are building these bigger networks, and subnetting, so putting the proper ways that traffic's going to travel on them. So there are a lot of different jobs. And you want to add anything? Can you think of anything that you've looked at that's a networking job?
There's also, lots of jobs for just network troubleshooting, help desk jobs. Those jobs are open a lot around here. They may not be they may be more entry level, but they're still really good ways to get started on a career.
What you find in a lot of IT careers is that employers like for you to be able to do a lot of different things. For example, in our IoT, our new curriculum for the Internet of Things, we teach networking, we teach programming, we also put some cyber defense in there, we do circuitry, basic cloud computing. All of those things are things that employers look for primarily because they like for their employees to be able to do many things instead of just one. Now, as you focus on the Cisco certifications and you get into higher level networking jobs, you're focusing only on the network security, scalability, reliability, things of that nature, redundancy, fault tolerance, all the important pieces of a computer network.
And how can a Cisco certification benefit an employee who has this in the long run?
Well, there are a lot of ways it can benefit. First, salary. Second, for Daniel, he's still here at Northeast State. He'll be graduating soon, but when he graduates with his degree and his double major and with that certificate, that's going to make him very impressive to employers. The more certifications you have, the more opportunities are going to arise, and of course your salary is going to grow. Then you'll have more opportunities for remote work, choosing where you want to work, and traveling.
And you touched on accelerator classes earlier. Can you tell me a little bit more about those?
So typically here at Northeast, we'll teach Cisco 1 in a whole semester, which is about 15 weeks. And an accelerator program, our goal is to be able to do that somewhere between 8 and 12 weeks. And we're still working on that curriculum right now to get it ready for the fall. And so by accelerator, we're pushing 15 weeks into a smaller time frame, but we at the same time have to make sure that our students are properly instructed and they get all the information they need.
And Daniel, you're in the networking program at Northeast. How's it been beneficial to you?
So it's given me, one of the things I've been able to do is, even though right now our hardware is a bit outdated, just even being able to work with hardware, setting it up, understanding how it works and how to access it, that's been really beneficial, and I've enjoyed it a lot because reading about materials, it's interesting, but when you actually get to do it, that's when it gets fun. And so it's just getting the chance to do it hands-on tells me, yes, I actually do want to pursue this as a career and I'd find this interesting. So it's a great way to see do I really want to do this? So I've really enjoyed the curriculum here.
Now, Donna, tell me, how will it benefit current students in their future when they're looking for careers and the companies in our area that they'll end up going to?
Well, one thing is the companies won't have to send any employees that they want to have these certifications to Atlanta or to Nashville or to other places far away, paying, all the travel expenses, the hotel expenses for them. And when we offer the accelerator program here, it's going to be considerably cheaper than that very large number I mentioned earlier. So our goal is to make it a very affordable type of accelerator program so that the industries that we have will find it, something that they want to send their employees to. But even if you're a smaller company and you only have 1 or 2 employees, it'll still be attractive for them as well because of the cost.
And tell me about the announcement of the governor's visiting regarding being a recipient to the award?
So the governor is going to be here with us on March the 19th. That's a Thursday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Daniel has very kindly agreed to receive the governor for us, and he will be talking to him about the networking programs we have, the GIVE grant, and giving him a tour of the new building, talking about the data center and the capabilities we're going to have with that. So that's March 19th. It'll be a big day for us here.
And Daniel, tell me, how have you successfully completed your CCNA and your CCENT certification?
So I actually just have the CCNT certification. That stands for Cisco Certified Entry-Level Network Technician. So I just have that first part. There's actually a second test to get the CCNA. But I've been studying it for the past 2 years. I took Cisco 1 in spring of 2019 and Cisco 2 in fall of 2019. So I took those classes together, finished them up in December, and I took my certification February 20th. So I took it relatively close to after I had finished those classes, which always helps because, you know, once you stop doing something, you forget how to do it pretty quickly. But, you know, I took notes. I actually have the opportunity to help teach some of these things. And if we talk later about how I got into IT, I can talk more about that. But I have the opportunity to teach these things, so that helps you. Because if you can teach something, you understand it pretty well. And then I just, you know, went over my notes and I bought some study guides online to prepare for the test. And I have several study books from Cisco. So all those resources helped me, and just, you know, taking it seriously, you know, understanding. You know, I put down I paid for the test myself, so I was like, you know, if I don't pass, it's going to be a lot of money that, you know, it'll be an experience, but I'll still lose it kind of. So I took it seriously, and I was able to pass it successfully.
Now, you mentioned how you got into IT. Tell me a little bit about that.
So I've been involved in a program called Civil Air Patrol for the past 6 years about. It's the United States Air Force Auxiliary. We have a cadet program similar to a junior ROTC. But we also have a club within our organization called Cyber Patriot, and that's a national competition. And teams from all sorts of different education communities compete in cybersecurity and networking. So a lot of the packet tracers, like Mrs. Farrell was talking about, we actually do those. When I was competing, we didn't do them because we hadn't reached that education level. But a lot of the teams who win nationals, they can do those things in their sleep. And then the cybersecurity side of it is operating system hardening. We don't do any, you know, white hat hacking or anything like that. We just do defensive stuff. But I did that my senior year of high school, and I wasn't really sure what I was going to be doing after high school until then. And I really enjoyed it, and I said, you know, since I had the opportunity to come here and study for 2 years, I was like, you know, I should just try it. And we hadn't done much with networking, but what I had been able to study, I really thought, man, that's cool. So I just chose networking, and yeah, I've been really enjoying it.
He's done a really good job. I'm going to brag on him. I'm so proud of all the things he's accomplished, not only passing that test the first time, which is really unheard of, but most people will take at least twice, some 3 or 4 times to pass any of the Cisco exams. So this is a pretty huge accomplishment for him. And as well, he's going to be representing Northeast State and Skills USA in the networking competition coming in April. And so I'm excited for Daniel's future and the things that he may be doing, and I'm like that with all of my students. I get really excited about all the things they get to participate in.
And Daniel, you've obviously had a lot of success in these courses. What advice would you give to other students who are considering taking it?
So I would say, you know, if you're struggling with concepts, which everyone does, you know, take your time and study it, and don't be afraid to ask for help. You know I've asked a lot of help from other people, and I've helped a lot of people. And that's honestly how we succeed together. You can accomplish more as a team than you can by yourself. So yeah, just taking it seriously and putting the effort in, and not being afraid to ask for help, and just, you know, taking the initiative to figure out answers to problems.
And Donna, I want to transition a little bit here to your role here at Northeast State. Tell me, what does the Computer and Information Science Department do as a whole?
We do. We're like the rock stars on campus. People may not know that. I've been saying for ages I want our computer science department to be the department of choice. So along with having programming, networking, cyber defense, and systems administration, we've just added the Internet of Things as our curriculum. We have a new ACM scholarship, and we have a monthly Smash Brothers tournament. So anybody that wants to play Smash Brothers, that's March 21st in the library from noon till 8. And we're celebrating Arduino Day on the same day. So Arduinos are these tiny little computers, and they've been around 15 years. Arduino Day is from noon until 3 in the library on March 21st, and we'll be giving away an IoT startup pack. So if you want to see some really cool projects that IoT is making, come by that day. You'll meet the faculty, you'll get to meet some students, and you can hang out and play Smash Brothers too. So we do things like that. Do you want more, or?
You can keep going just a little bit.
So some of the other things we do, we have 5 work study students. They spend time also being tutors for our students as well. So Python and SQL this semester are some of the things that we need tutors for. They go into the class as a lab assistant. They're there to help the instructors, and so that's something that we've implemented that really helps their students. We also have the ACM, Association of Computing Machinery. We have regular meetings with those. We do different kinds of fundraising. We do different types of outings. One of the things that we want to do in the future, there's a really large data center in Knoxville that we've been invited to go see, so we want to go travel there. And then we also give our students the opportunities like this mock data center. We're the first in Tennessee to have this mock data center availability to students, and having this in the new technology complex is going to be phenomenal. We'll also be able to take our computer science folks, kind of partner with everybody on the first floor, the machine shop, robotics, welding, things of that nature, and kind of make it a real-time IoT environment.
And very quickly, just a few seconds, how can people get into contact with you to ask you about programs here at Northeast State?
So you can call, and from calling, just ask for me or Dean Blair. He'll be able to help. If you go to our website, northeaststate.edu, just type in computer science, you can find me there. You can also find me at F216 in the faculty building.
Well, Donna and Daniel, thank you both so much for coming on today, and we'll be right back after a message to wrap up Direction Northeast.
Opportunity is waiting just around the corner. If you look close enough and stay focused, you can see the transformation. It's groundbreaking, and it's just the beginning. It's your future, and it begins at Northeast State. Wherever you're going, Northeast State Community College, we're here to get you there.
Hi, welcome back to Direction Northeast. Thank you both so much for coming on today. We really appreciate it. And that concludes our program today. We talked with Dr. Donna Farrell and Daniel Dotson about the new GIVE grant received by Northeast State Community College. Community is very important here at Northeast State Community College, and this program takes a look at our students and faculty and some of the matters important to them. Until we meet next time, on behalf of the staff, students, and faculty here at Northeast State Community College, I'm Isaiah Acquaintance, and this is Direction Northeast.